Part 1. The Pain of Dissonance. It is one of the loneliest experiences on the path. To be in a room with people you love or respect, and to realize, with a painful clarity, that you are the only one who is awake. But what if that pain is not about them? What if it's about a part of you that is still asleep? If you feel the frustration and the isolation of seeing a world that others don't, you have found a space that understands. The final stage of your awakening is not in seeing how you are different from others, but in seeing how you are one with them. Subscribe to the Hidden Voice, and let us, together, dismantle the last and most subtle trap of the spiritual ego. Let's begin by validating the profound pain of this experience. It is the pain of dissonance. You are at a family dinner, and you are listening to the same old stories, the same unresolved dramas, the same unconscious patterns playing out, year after year. You can see the pain and the fear that is driving the conversation. You can see the masks that everyone is wearing, and you love them. But you are sitting at the table like a visitor from another planet, unable to participate in the charade, and unable to speak the truth without causing chaos. And so, you fall silent. And the silence is a lonely island in a sea of familiar noise. You are in a work meeting, and you are watching as decisions are made from a place of fear, of ego, of scarcity. You can see a simpler, more creative, more heart-centered solution to the problem, but you know that to suggest it would be to speak a language that this room is not equipped to hear. You see the stress, the competition, the frantic energy, and it feels like watching a play that is both tragic and absurd. And you feel a profound sense of alienation, a deep and unsettling feeling of, I do not belong here. This is the pain of seeing the Matrix while everyone else is still asleep, dreaming that it is real. It is the frustration of seeing the solution to their suffering, but being powerless to show it to them. It is the impatience that comes from wanting them to just wake up. You want to shake them, to show them the beautiful, peaceful reality you have discovered. And your inability to do so feels like a personal failure, a heavy and solitary burden. Part 2. The Trap of Spiritual Pride. Now we must turn the spotlight around. We must look at this painful experience from a completely new angle. And this may be difficult to hear, but it is the key to your freedom. The pain of being the only awake person in the room is the most subtle, most clever, and most dangerous trap of the spiritual ego. Let that sink in. The very story, I am awake and they are asleep, is a story of separation. It is a story of me versus them. And any story that creates a sense of separation, of being special, of being more advanced, is not the voice of your soul. It is the voice of your ego, which has found a new and very sophisticated costume to wear. Your old ego got its identity from being a successful person, or a good person, or a wounded person. Your new, spiritual ego gets its identity from being the awakened one. It is the same mechanism, simply dressed in spiritual robes. The suffering you feel in that room is not caused by their unconsciousness. It is caused by your own, subtle, and often unconscious, judgment of their unconsciousness. It is caused by the part of you that is standing apart, in a state of quiet superiority. It is the pain of your own, unacknowledged arrogance. This is the great and humbling test of the path. It is easy to feel spiritual when you are alone, in meditation, reading a holy book. But the real test comes when you are back in the messy, unconscious world of human relationships. The pain you feel is a divine and loving feedback mechanism. It is your own soul, sending you a clear and uncomfortable signal. The signal is this: there is still a part of you that believes you are separate. There is still a part of you that is judging. There is still a part of you that is asleep. The frustration you feel with them is a perfect mirror of a frustration that still exists within you. The war you feel with their state of being is a reflection of a war that is still happening inside of you. Part 3. The Somatics of the Spiritual Ego. To heal this, we must first learn to detect the presence of the spiritual ego in our own bodies. It has a very specific and very uncomfortable, energetic signature. Let's do a diagnostic investigation. I want you to bring to mind a recent situation where you felt like the only awake person in the room. A conversation, a meeting, a family gathering. And I want you to feel the memory of that experience in your body. Now, be honest. As you remember their unconscious behavior, what is the dominant feeling that arises in you? Is it a vast, open, warm, and loving compassion in your heart? A feeling of profound and unconditional acceptance for them, exactly as they are? Or, is it something else? Is it a tight, constricted, and slightly self-righteous energy in your head? A feeling of, I know something they don't know? Is it a subtle, but definite, feeling of impatience in your gut? A frustration, a desire for them to be different, to be better? Is there a tension in your shoulders, as if you are holding yourself apart, protecting your high vibration from their low vibration? That feeling, the tight head, the impatient gut, the tense shoulders, is the somatic signature of the spiritual ego. True, embodied awakeness does not feel like that. True consciousness is not a state of tension and separation. It is a state of profound relaxation and inclusion. It is the vast, open sky that has room for every kind of cloud, without judgment. The pain you feel in those rooms is the pain of your own contraction. It is the pain of your own judgment. It is the discomfort of the spiritual ego, which is an inherently separate and therefore painful state of being. The great secret is that the room is not the problem. Your reaction to the room is the problem. Your work is not to wake them up. Your work is to notice and to relax the part of you that is so pained by their sleeping. Your work is to use their unconsciousness as a divine mirror to show you the parts of your own consciousness that are not yet fully at peace. Part 4. The Test of the Guru. This great and humbling test, the test of encountering the unawakened world with a truly awakened heart, is a classic and essential chapter in the story of spiritual maturation. It is the moment the student, flush with their newfound insight, is sent back into the world to see if their insight is real, or just a beautiful idea. The great spiritual teacher Ram Dass, in his many decades of teaching, spoke about this trap of the spiritual ego with a beautiful and often humorous honesty. He was a master of catching himself, and others, in this subtle form of pride. After spending time with his guru in India, Neem Karoli Baba, Ram Dass would often return to the West, feeling high, enlightened, and filled with a sense of profound spiritual knowledge. He would be surrounded by people who were still caught in the dramas of the material world, and he would feel a sense of compassionate, but definite, superiority. And his guru, even from thousands of miles away, always seemed to know. Ram Dass would receive a cryptic message, or have a sudden, humbling experience, that would instantly pop the balloon of his spiritual pride. He told a famous story about how he was feeling particularly holy, and he went to make a phone call, only to get into a petty, egoic argument with the telephone operator. And in that moment, he realized his holiness was a fragile, conditional state. He had not yet integrated it. His guru taught him a profound lesson, a lesson that is central to our journey today. The ultimate test of your awakening is not how you feel when you are on your meditation cushion. It is how you behave when you are in line at the grocery store. It is not how much you love God when you are in a state of bliss. It is how much you can see God in the face of the person who is annoying you the most. To be the only awake person in the room is not a status to be proud of. It is a test to be passed. And you pass the test not by trying to prove how awake you are. You pass the test by becoming so profoundly and humbly awake that the sleeping of others no longer disturbs your own peace. You pass the test when your primary feeling in that room is not a subtle frustration, but a vast, unconditional, and heartbreakingly beautiful love. Part 5. The Parable of the Lucid Dreamer. To fully grasp the wisdom and the folly of this situation, let us tell a story. The parable of the dreamer who wakes up inside the dream. Imagine a person who is in the middle of a vivid and chaotic dream. And in the middle of this dream, they have a moment of profound insight. They become lucid. They realize, with a sudden shocking clarity, this is a dream. None of this is real. This is your spiritual awakening. The lucid dreamer is filled with a sense of exhilaration and power. They are no longer a victim of the dream's narrative. They are awake. And now, their first, noble, and completely misguided temptation is to try and wake everyone else up. They run up to the other characters in the dream, their dream family, their dream co-workers, and they start shouting, with a frantic and righteous energy, "You are not real. This is all a dream. Wake up. Wake up." And how do the dream characters respond? They respond according to their programming, according to the script of the dream. They look at the lucid dreamer as if he is insane. They argue with him. They dismiss him. They call him crazy. And the lucid dreamer becomes more and more frustrated. Why can't they see it? It's so obvious. His own awakening, which began as a source of peace, has now become a source of profound frustration and isolation. He is the only sane person in a world of lunatics, and it is a lonely and maddening place to be. But then, the true mastery of lucid dreaming begins. The dreamer has a second, and even more profound, realization. He realizes that his job is not to wake up the other dream characters. He realizes that the other dream characters are, in fact, all expressions of his own dreaming mind. To be at war with them is to be at war with himself. His true work is to learn how to interact with the dream, and with its characters, with a new level of love, of compassion, and of playful wisdom. He stops trying to convince them that they are not real, and he starts to love them, exactly as they are. He can now engage with the drama of the dream, but without believing in it. He can play his part in the story, but with a quiet, secret smile, knowing the truth. You are the lucid dreamer. The room full of unconscious people is your dream. Your pain does not come from their sleeping. It comes from your own frantic and futile attempt to wake them up. Your liberation comes when you have the second realization. When you see that they are not separate from you. That they are a reflection of your own consciousness, playing out a necessary part in your own grand dream. And your work is not to change them. It is to love them, as they are, as a part of yourself. Part 6. The Vow of the Humble Observer. Do you recognize yourself as the lucid dreamer, shouting at the characters in your own dream? If this parable illuminates the subtle trap of your own spiritual pride, then I invite you to make this space your school for lucid living. Subscribe to The Hidden Voice. This is a community for dreamers who are learning the art of interacting with a dream, and with all its beautiful, sleeping characters, with a new level of wisdom and of love. And now, we must make a conscious choice. A choice to shift from the role of the frustrated, self-righteous teacher to the role of the humble, loving observer. This is a vow to honor the dream, exactly as it is. Find your center. Feel the quiet, lucid presence of your own awareness, the part of you that knows it is dreaming. And from this place of wisdom, make this declaration. I now see and understand that my frustration with the sleeping world is a sign of my own spiritual ego. It is the last and most subtle illusion of separation. I release the need to be the awake one. I release the need to change or to fix anyone else. I release the story that I am more advanced or that my perception is more valid. I now choose the path of humility. Now, let this vow become your new code of conduct for interacting with the world. From this day forward, I make a vow to be a humble observer. My primary work is not to wake others up, but to use their presence as a mirror to wake up more fully myself. I will stop judging the dream characters. And I will start to see them as reflections of myself. I will see their fear as my own fear. I will see their ego as my own ego. I will see their beautiful, sleeping soul as my own beautiful, sleeping soul. They are not my students, they are my teachers. My service to the world is not to give a lecture, but to be a living transmission. I will focus not on changing their state, but on maintaining my own. I will hold my own frequency of peace, of love, of compassion, and I will allow that frequency to be my only, silent, and most powerful offering. Take a deep, conscious breath, and feel the profound relaxation that comes with this vow. You are letting go of an impossible and arrogant burden, the burden of being the savior of the world. And you are taking up a new, joyful, and infinitely more powerful role, the role of being a simple, humble and loving presence within it. You are no longer the lonely teacher. You are a fellow dreamer, learning to love the dream. Part 7. They are your mirror. As you begin to practice this vow of the humble observer, you will start to see the people in the room not as obstacles to your peace, but as your most profound and powerful teachers. You will realize that they are not there to frustrate you. They are there to serve you. They are a divine and perfect mirror for the parts of you that are not yet fully integrated. The law of the universe is this: you cannot perceive something in another unless that same quality exists, in some form, within you. Your perception of their flaws is a direct reflection of a part of your own shadow. When you are in a room and you feel a profound sense of judgment toward someone's arrogance, that is the universe, holding up a mirror. It is a loving and direct invitation for you to look at your own subtle, and perhaps well-hidden, spiritual arrogance. Where are you acting superior? When you feel an intense wave of frustration at your family's inability to change their dysfunctional patterns, that is a mirror. It is showing you the part of yourself that is still trying to control the uncontrollable, the part that is still at war with what is. Where are you still resisting the flow of your own life? When you feel a sense of pity or a condescending compassion for those who are still asleep, that is the most subtle mirror of all. It is showing you the part of you that is still identified with being the awake one, the part that is still creating a story of separation. These people are not your students. They are your assignments. They are your gurus in disguise. Their unconsciousness is a gift to you. It is a diagnostic tool of incredible precision, showing you the exact places where your own awakening is still just a concept, where your own peace is still conditional, where your own love is not yet truly unconditional. To be the only awake person in the room is to be given the greatest of all opportunities, the opportunity to see your own remaining unconsciousness reflected in the faces of those you love, and to meet that reflection not with more judgment, but with a deep, profound, and healing gratitude. Part 8. Rituals for the Lucid Dreamer. To navigate this lucid dream with grace and to learn the lessons your dream characters are offering you, you need a new set of practices. These are the rituals for the humble observer, the wise and loving lucid dreamer. The first ritual is to find the consciousness within them. When you are with a person who seems to be completely lost in their egoic persona, your old habit was to focus on that persona, and to judge it. Your new practice is to look deeper. You will consciously and deliberately look past the mask. Look into their eyes. And with your intuition, with your heart, you will try to feel the silent, spacious, and beautiful consciousness that is present in them, just as it is in you, behind the noise of their personality. You can even offer it a silent greeting. A silent, namaste. The divine in me sees and honors the divine in you. This practice changes everything. It shifts your point of connection from the level of the clashing personalities to the level of the unified consciousness. You are no longer interacting with their ego. You are in a silent, soul-to-soul communion. This is the most healing and transformative gift you can offer anyone, to see them not as the character they are playing, but as the divine light that they truly are. The second ritual is the mirror mantra. This is your in-the-moment tool for transforming judgment into self-inquiry. When you feel a strong, negative, emotional reaction to someone's behavior, you will pause. And before you project your story onto them, you will silently ask yourself one of these questions. What part of myself is this person showing me right now? Or, where in my own life am I behaving in this exact same way? Or, what unhealed wound in me is being triggered by their behavior? This is an act of radical self-responsibility. It is the choice to use your emotional triggers not as a reason to blame others, but as a map back to the parts of your own self that are calling for your love and attention. You are using the other person not as a target, but as a teacher, and in doing so, you are accelerating your own integration and your own healing. The third ritual is the silent frequency anchor. This is your primary act of service in any room. Your job is not to be the teacher, the preacher, or the healer. Your job is to be the tuning fork. When you enter a room filled with the dissonant, anxious, and chaotic energy of the collective ego, your practice is to not engage with it on its own level. Instead, You will silently anchor yourself in your own core frequency of peace. You will feel your feet on the floor. You will feel your breath in your body. You will connect to the silent, spacious awareness that is your true nature. And your only task is to hold that frequency, to be the one, calm, stable, and coherent signal in the room. You are not doing this to show off your spirituality. You are doing this as an act of selfless service. Your calm and regulated nervous system has a profound and regulating effect on every other nervous system in the room. Your silent peace is a silent permission slip for others to feel a little more peaceful themselves. You are not changing their minds. You are, by your very presence, changing the energetic weather of the entire room. Part 9. The Illusion of Separation. As you begin to master these practices, as you learn to see your own reflection in the sleeping world, as you become a silent anchor of peace in any room, you are led to the final and most profound realization of all. The entire premise of our conversation today, the very title of this journey, the pain of being the only awake person in the room, is the final and most subtle illusion of the ego. The belief that you are awake and that they are asleep is the last ghost of the story of separation. It is the ego's final and most sophisticated attempt to create a me that is different from and superior to them. From the ultimate perspective, the perspective of the one consciousness that is dreaming this entire universe into being, there is no one who is awake and no one who is asleep. There is only the one dreamer, dreaming. And it is dreaming itself as the character of the awakened one, you. And it is dreaming itself as the character of the sleeping one, them. It is all the same consciousness, playing all the parts in its own magnificent, and sometimes tragic and sometimes comical play. To judge the sleeping character is for the left hand to judge the right hand. It is for a wave to believe it is more wet than another wave. The pain you have felt is the pain of this final, subtle, and spiritualized sense of separation. Part 10. The Oneness Beyond Awareness. And so we arrive at the great, humbling, and heart-opening epiphany. You thought the journey was about achieving a state of awakeness that made you different from others. The final realization is that the journey is about achieving a state of love so profound that you can no longer see any difference at all. The test is not to see how awake you are. The test is to see how much you can love. And the climax of your awakening is not the moment you realize, I am awake. It is the moment you look at the most unconscious, most difficult, most frustrating person in the room, and you see, with a sudden and shocking clarity that shatters your heart open, that is me. That is also me. In that moment of recognition, all judgment dissolves. All frustration disappears. All sense of superiority evaporates. And all that is left is a vast, open, and heartbreakingly beautiful compassion. You are no longer the lonely, awake person in a room full of sleeping people. You are the room itself. You are the silent, loving, and all-encompassing consciousness that is holding every single character, every single storyline, in its own infinite and unconditional embrace. The true sign of an awakened being is not their elevated perception. It is their limitless compassion. It is not in how much they know. It is in how much they love. And it is in their ability to see the one, single, divine self, dreaming its beautiful dream, in the eyes of everyone they meet. Your journey is not about separating yourself from the sleeping world. It is about learning to love it so completely that you awaken it through the power of your own compassion. If this journey has helped you to transform your frustration into a deeper love, then help us share this message of unity. Subscribe to The Hidden Voice. Like and share this guidance. Every interaction you make helps to dismantle the subtle walls of the spiritual ego and reminds another soul that we are all, truly, in this together. Thank you for your courage to see yourself in everyone. Now go, and be not the awake one, but the loving one. That is the only awakening that truly matters.